Welcome to this free immigration help channel. Today is June 8, 2023, and we're getting into the volume 112 of me answering your immigration related questions. As you can see, I have all your comments pulled up in front of me. As always, I'm going to mention, as I mentioned in every video before beginning, I am not an immigration attorney. This is not a legal advice. All the information provided in this video on this channel are directly from official government sources like USCIS and of course the Department of State with their visa bulletin. Speaking of the visa bulletin, if you have not seen yet my new video that I've just posted on visa bulletin for July 2023 that just came out, make sure to check it out because some of the categories have seen some positive movement. Unfortunately, there were a lot of other categories that have not seen any movement. But yes, the July 2023 is out. Alrighty, so let's start with the first comment from Adejumu. Hadijat says, thank you for your help. God bless. Adejumu, thank you very much. I appreciate you. God bless you too. I'm glad my video was helpful. Moving further to Washti Singh. Can you tell me, my son filed for my husband and I. Okay, so parents, IR category, immediate relative category. If they ask me if I'm going to work, can I say to them, yes, I'm going to work once I receive my green card in the mail? Washti, thank you very much for the question. That is an excellent question. Absolutely 100% yes. In fact, they will most likely ask you, what are your plans? What are you going to do once you come to the United States as a permanent resident? Because once you enter the country with the immigrant visa, with the form I-551, the stamp that they put in the passport, it converts automatically as soon as you enter the country, as soon as you go through the Customs and Border Protection, it turns into a temporary permanent resident card, which you can immediately start working with. You will have to go obviously to the Social Security Administration and get your Social Security number, which is the first thing I recommend doing once you enter the country, going to the Social Security Administration and getting the Social Security number. And then the driver license, obviously, or the ID, so far, so forth. But yes, absolutely, you can definitely do that. Excellent question. Let me put this and do that. So you see, for everyone else, there's a huge difference between coming into the country as a permanent resident and having the immigration interview, the interview at the U.S. Embassy for immigrant visa versus non-immigrant visa, because most of the times non-immigrant visa, it does not allow you the right to work in the United States. So if that's the case, obviously yes, of course you don't want to say I will work in the United States if you have a visa, if you're applying for a visa that does not give you the right to. Okay, moving further to Elizabeth. Elizabeth says, I can't fill the form online. It's not interactive and it's driving me crazy. So there was an I-539 application to extend change non-immigrant status. Let's take a look. I'm pretty sure that form was available online. So we're gonna go to uscis.gov, which is the official government website for U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. You can find the link for it in the description below. We're gonna click on forms right here at the top. And then all forms right here. And then we can type in 539, or you can scroll down and you will find it. It's all in alphabetic numerical order. So yes, application to extend change non-immigrant status is available to file online. In order to file it online, you would have to create a USCIS online account. So if this is the link that you're clicking on and it's not allowing you to see, then most likely some technical difficulties. Either try a different browser or something along those lines. Sometimes USCIS.gov, they have problem with their tools. Sometimes they have the tools outage when they do the maintenance on the website, so try it later. But the worst case scenario, even if you're not able to file the form online, you can always do a physical form, file it by mail, which you can find it right here. The form I-539 is available in the paper form. In fact, if you're filing the I-539 for more than one person, so you are attaching the supplemental I-539A, in that case you have to file it by mail. But try it again online with this link right here. I'm going to post it in my response. And let me know if you're having additional issues and I'll take a look into that further. Alrighty, let's move on to the next question comment from Don Paul. Dawn says, once the request for evidence has been returned, what is the next step in the process? Will I receive something saying my case is being processed again? Dawn, thank you very much. That's a great question. So it depends on which stage of the family reunification. I'm assuming you're referring to the family reunification case, because that's really most of the times what we deal with on this channel. So the I-130 petition for alien relative. So if it is still with USCIS, most of the times, yes, USCIS does send you a notice that they have received the additional evidence that they have requested, and at this time, there's nothing else for you to do. The case is basically being processed. Alternatively, you can go and monitor the case status online, and you're probably familiar with how to do that, but I'll show it for everyone who's not, just in case. Again, uscis.gov website. We're going to click on Tools now at the very last on the navigation menu here, and then case status online. So you can put your receipt number into this field right here, and then it will tell you the status, and if it has been updated to being received and that your case is processed, it will update here. Now, whenever it comes to the NVC, if it is already with the NVC, National Visa Center, in that case, then they send you an email. Once you submit everything, they send you an email, and in the portal, you can actually tell that everything has been submitted and there's nothing else that you can do, and you're just waiting for them to review it. Honestly, I suspect that most likely it is with USCIS, because most of the times requests for initial evidence, and that's what it sounds like, they come from USCIS. So if you have sent it, if you have satisfied their requirements, I would give them like a month and a half, and if you don't see any updates online, then I would recommend reaching out to USCIS, their customer support line, which is not it's really hard to reach an actual person through that phone number, but it's possible. It's possible. So it'll probably take a lot of time, but it's possible. And then you can ask them if your request for the if their request for initial evidence has been satisfied by what you have sent them. Okay, so let me pause this, and we're gonna move on to the next question from Ivory. Ivory says, July visa bulletin is out. Ivory, thank you for the update, appreciate it. I have just uploaded the July visa bulletin video. So if you haven't seen that, make sure to check it out. If you are dealing with the family immigration and you're not in the immediate relative category, but in one of the categories that's dealing with a backlog, check that video out. Okay, moving further to Maria Carlier. Priority date 1st December 2017, F2B category from Ecuador, so all chargeability area, approximate estimate when I would get a green card. All right, great question, Maria. Thank you very much for asking. So let's look at the brand new July 2023 visa bulletin, and we'll take a look at the graph A to see the full length, approximately how long Maria is going to be waiting for. So she's in F2B, Ecuador. So F2B, Ecuador, going to be all chargeability area. F2B right now is showing 22 September 2015. And Maria is December 2017. So that means that we are roughly 2 years. 2 years away. So Maria, roughly 2 more years of waiting until the availability of the immigrant visa, and right around that time when the immigrant visa is becoming available, plus 3-4 months, plus minus 3-4 months, you will have your interview scheduled. So roughly another 2 years. But again, a rough estimate, because the backlog unfortunately keeps on growing and it's getting worse. Okay, let's move on to the next one from the Great Invisible. How long is taking NVC to review resubmitted documents? I resubmitted my documents since May 22. So let's see, May 22. So it's like June. Oh, so it's only like 20. No, my math is horrible. Like 16 days. So like 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago. NVC has confirmed receiving the documents, but I'm still waiting. Okay, great question. The Great Invisible. Great question. So about 3 months, roughly. 3 to 4 months, I would say, in most cases, but I have seen 6 months them reviewing the case. It might be faster, it might be slower, but most of the times 3 to 4 months. Personally, I had exactly the same situation. The initial documents that I have submitted for my parents' case through the NVC portal, they were not satisfactory for these guys. They requested some translations for some of the documents. I had to add the joint sponsor, and I probably did it within like 4 or 5 days. I submitted everything, and then I was waiting about 3.5, 4 months for them to review it again. So it definitely does create a little bit of a delay, but considering how long the whole process takes, 3-4 months extra is really not that bad. But yes, you've been waiting for about 2 weeks, so I would say give them another at least a month to review this, at least a month before reaching out and submitting the public inquiry and so far so forth, because it does take some time for them to review that stuff. Okay, moving further to Amanda Oliveros. Amanda says, thank you so much for answering. I'll try to reach out. If not, I just hope they send it to the right office in Mexico. Yes, Amanda, hopefully. So the worst case scenario, yes. The worst case scenario is that they will ask you to fill out the I-824, which is the application for action on approved application or petition. And that's most of the times they ask when there is some kind of inconsistency on where the interview is supposed to be taking place. But that's really the worst case scenario. So there is a chance that they will, because they're sending it to U.S. Embassy, they know where it is, they will just send it to the correct one, and it should be good. Okay, moving further to Oracle. Oracle says, thanks for everything. I first submitted form DS-260 and later submitted the civil documents because it was not ready at the time of submitting DS-260. Okay, that's exactly what I did as well. I later did the I-864 after about a month. I just received a message right after submitting everything. 2 days after submitting everything. Okay, the message says NVC can't continue my case unless they receive form DS-260. Civil documents and financial documents before they will continue with the case. My page shows every required documents are all submitted. Please, what should I do? Thanks. Oracle, I'm reading your comment and I'm having a deja vu because I'm pretty sure that's exactly the same thing that happened with my case for my parents when I was working on it. And I'm pretty sure somebody already asked this question on this channel, that they have received that message. So I think it's some kind of glitch in the system, kind of like them saying that, hey, we received everything, but if there's something is missing, we just want to let you know that we won't be able to process if there is a DS-260 or civil documents or something that's missing. So I think that's something along those lines, the glitch with NVC. But what I would recommend doing is go to the NVC portal again, go through the DS-260 because I know you have multiple ones. So check all the ones that you have. Make sure that they're all filled out, and that they're submitted in the submitted status. That that you cannot enter them or anything like this. Check the affidavit of support. Check all the civil documents. Make sure they have that green check mark next to them and that you cannot do anything else additionally. Check it on all of them, and if all of that is submitted, then just give them time for them to review, and everything should be good. But if you find something obviously that is not submitted, then that would be your problem. But I'm pretty sure exactly the same thing happened to me, and that's what I did. I went in and I went through the whole thing and everything was submitted. I think it's just with the NVC some kind of glitch. Alrighty, so let me pause this and we're gonna move on to the next one from Michael Amidor. Says, thanks. Michael, I'm glad you found this helpful. Moving further to Kelly Tracy. Kelly Tracy says, do I need a police clearance certificate from a country I lived just for 5 months, 2 weeks? Okay, Kelly, that's a great question. So it depends on what you're doing, what the police certificate is for. For example, because this channel, most of the questions are about family reunification petitions, and as part of becoming documentarily qualified, you do need to submit that police certificate showing that there was no courts or anything or warrants for that person. If the last country where you're physically present and you're counting as your chargeability area and your beneficiary, for example, and you're in that country, then yes, That's the country that you will be submitting. But for example, let's say you are a national of a certain country and then you temporarily lived somewhere else for 5 months, but your chargeability area is your original country of nationality, where you are the national of, where your physical address is, where your permanent address is. Then obviously you don't need to provide the police certificate from the country where you temporarily lived in. You would need to provide the police certificate from the country that you are a national of, that you are basically immigrating from. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. But again, if anyone, Kelly, and anyone who I responded to, if you have any follow-up questions or comments, don't hesitate to ask them. Just make sure to submit them as a separate comment. Don't reply to my comment within your comment, because YouTube does not send me notifications. Your comments that you respond don't show up on this wall for me. Okay, moving further to Amanda Bruce. Amanda Bruce says, I'm F2B. It says F24 priority date 2016 and documentarily qualified 2022 November in the Georgetown Embassy. Okay, let's take a look. So already documentarily qualified. So we're going to be looking at the graph A. F2B, September 2015. And Amanda Bruce is 2016. Okay. So 2016 and 2015. So that means, depending on which months it is, because Amanda, you didn't specify the months. 2016, you might be just about a year away from the availability of the immigrant visa, sorry, not plural, but visa. So you're already documentarily qualified, which means that once the immigrant visa is available, you'll have your interview scheduled. So you're really, really, really close. Oh, there you go. There's a chain of comments there. Ivory says, hello, which months in 2016 may I ask? Okay, so Amanda says October. So October, and it's September. So yeah, just one more year and 1 month roughly. But it's 22nd September, so pretty much October. So pretty much exactly 1 more year. Hopefully it keeps on moving. Again, it's a rough estimate. Things might slow down. Things might speed up. We will see. Hopefully they do speed up. And then King Germain says, hello, sir. I hope you're doing well. The July visa bulletin is out and still no movement for F1, F2A, and F2B. Congratulations, F3 and F4 for the little movement. But at this point, I lose all hope. This is inhumane when it comes on to reunite families. Unfortunately, King Germain, I have to agree with you, because, this is really bad. It's really bad. I personally expected a lot more movement on July. I mean, honestly, I expected a lot more movement for the months of April, May, June, July. I was thinking we're gonna see a lot of movement, and I will explain why. I thought there's gonna be a lot of movement because we had this whole situation with the pandemic and all these closures, and no visas were issued. We were waiting, nothing was happening, right? For like 2 years. So you would think that once everything opened up, we will start catching up to it, and we will see this movement that is rapid movement. All right, we're catching up now. All right, let's move it. Every month, like 3 months, 6 months movement. And we did see on some of the categories. I think in May we've seen some good movement, and in July for some of the categories there's good movement. But overall, it's bad. Overall, it's not good. A lot of the categories, they're just sitting still like they used to, and it's really it's frustrating, yeah. But it's also very almost scary, because if you have a petition for alien relative, and I can relate myself because I do have a petition for my brother, and F4 categories, how long they take forever. They take really, really long time. And if you're one of those categories that's looking and there's no movement, there isn't really much anything you can do if you think about it, because you can send an inquiry to NVC and they will tell you, oh yeah, well, you have to wait for the availability of the immigrant visa. You can send the inquiry to USCIS and they'll tell you, oh, you'll have to reach out to NVC or Department of State. So the only thing that I would recommend and I would encourage you to do, again, I keep saying it pretty much in every video now, reach out to local elected officials. Reach out to the senator, and I'm talking to petitioners. If you're a petitioner, then you're a permanent resident or you're a U.S. citizen. Reach out to the local elected officials of your state. Whether they're Republican, whether they're Democrat, it really doesn't matter. Both, I would say both have to agree on this. Nobody would not agree with this, and whoever disagrees with this, they don't understand. Unfortunately, this is the way this works, because these people who are petitioning for their relatives from other countries, they are themselves who did everything legally, paid the fees, went through background checks, went through interviews. They don't have no criminal record. They're good residents. They're good citizens, and they're petitioning for their relatives who will do exactly the same thing too. They don't have no criminal background, and we already seen, police certificate you have to provide that you don't have any warrants, you don't have nothing like this. You are showing that you are a sponsor, so that the person that comes in, your relative, they can't apply for public benefits. They can't be, they don't waste taxpayers' money, right? They don't do that. They are themselves, they come in and they already have the legal right to work in the United States. So they come in here, they legally live here, they legally work here, they pay taxes, they only contribute. So at the end of all of this, why is there even a cap on these immigrant visas? Why? What's the purpose of this? Meanwhile, there's a lot of avenues that are very sketchy, very questionable, that some of the, part of the political party that is pushing very aggressively for some reason, and blaming another side for being certain ways against a certain, I'm talking about the border obviously, and because United States borders with Mexico, I'm talking about Mexico. But the problem is, if you look at the, if you watch the visa bulletin video that I've just done on July 2023, you see how when it comes to legal immigrants from Mexico, how unfair they're treated. They are treated more unfair than pretty much anybody else. And that raises the question, why is it happening? Why is the people that are, from Mexico, that are doing everything legally, doing everything the right way, they are treated completely unfair? And I'll show you. Let's take a look at the F3 category. F3, it's married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens. So somebody who's from Mexico came here to the United States, become a naturalized U.S. citizen, and now they're petitioning for their married son or daughter, okay? Legally, they themselves paid all the fees, and now they're paying all the fees, they're doing the background checks, medical examination, all of this stuff. F3, for Mexico, roughly 25-26 years, the wait time for a son or daughter married of a U.S. citizen, okay? And, okay, fine, you say, well, they're married, blah, 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 I don't know, whatever. Maybe that's bad. Okay, fine, unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, Mexico, obviously, 22 years. So somebody who is, illegally crossing the border, they are given more everything, really, especially with the way things are today, compared to someone who did everything legally themselves and they're doing everything legally for their children. 20 plus years. So with that being said, if it's now news for you and you're dealing with a family immigration, I encourage you, if you're a petition and if you're in the United States, find your state representatives, elected officials, senators, congressmen, whoever, and reach out to them and tell them that this is ridiculous and it needs to be, this is what we need to be concentrated on. All right, let's move on to the next question from Sabal Akmal. Kindly tell me about F2B. Priority date is 12 July 2019 and case approved on 2nd August 2021. Alrighty, Sabah, thank you very much for asking. So July 2019 visa bulletin right now is showing September 2015. So September, July 2019, 2015. So roughly you're looking at another 4 years. for the availability of the immigrant visa, roughly. Again, things might slow down, they might speed up, but about 4 years, a little bit less because you are in July. Well, actually a little bit more because you're in July and then September. So we have July, August, so like 4 years and 2 months, roughly. Okay, moving further to Shabana Khan. Shabana says, "Good afternoon to you, sir. I will to know why visa bulletin is not moving, because for the past 6 months now, chargeability is at 01 January 2017. Well, Shabana, unfortunately, the reason why a lot of these categories are not moving, and most of the times, is that the way it is set up, really. Because if we look at the visa bulletin, these different categories, they have a different amount of available visas that are issued each year. So let's say for first priority category, right now there's 23,400 visas annually available, right? If there is 30,000 applications, it means that in that year there is a backlog of 6,600 visas that is transferred to the next year. So the next year, that 6,600 visas take away already from the 23,400. So now the next year, even less immigrant visas is available. But let's say there is again 30,000 applications, then again, there is a backlog that is now more than it was previous year. And each year, this backlog, it keeps growing and growing and growing, depending on which category. That's why you see on some of the categories, from some of the chargeability areas, there is absolutely no movement, and that is the reason why, unfortunately. Okay, let's move on to the next one from Oracle. Oracle, that's the same question. Hi, NVC, send me a message requesting documents I have already submitted. Please, I don't know what to do. Thanks, Oracle. So should be just a glitch, but double check. And honestly, if you still doubt, then what you can do is you can submit a public inquiry to the NVC and ask them, say, hey guys, I've submitted everything, and I've received this email, this strange email that makes absolutely no sense. Alrighty, moving further to Entertainment Industry Channel says, what about Pakistan? My mama maybe filed the I-130 for my mother. My memo filed the I-130 for my mother in 2007. When will we get welcome letter? Okay, so in this Entertainment Industry Channel, please let me know the category, the chargeability area, and the priority date. And using those three, I will be able to give you a little bit more information, give you some rough estimates. Alrighty, let me put this response, and then we're gonna move on probably to our last question of the day from Denise Dufour. Denise, thank you for another question. As you can see, he's one of the top commenters on this channel. So Denise says, hi sir, among all the visa class, why is the F1 has the least share of the visa issued under the fiscal year? Denise, that's excellent question. So yes, if you're looking at the visa bulletin, you will see some of the availability of the immigrant visas for certain categories, and for F1, it is less than others. Why? Honestly, I have no idea why. Whoever decided to separate it this way is completely ridiculous. I guess maybe, this is my suspicion why they did it, maybe when they were implementing the visa cap in general for family immigration categories, which they should have never done. Okay, whoever came up with that idea is, I'm not gonna say, but I think the reason why they came up with it is maybe because they look at a few previous years before the cap was implemented, and they saw that there is approximately this amount of applications for first class, this amount of application for second, this amount of application for, well, I guess it's a 23 overall second preference, whatever, 23 the same thing for F3, and then 65 for fourth. Maybe that's why. And also, I want you to notice that F1 and F3, the difference is married, unmarried. If you combine them, there's like 46,800. So again, they are coming up with this out of, some kind of their own whatever, which clearly is wrong, because if it wasn't, then we wouldn't have this problem, backlog, people waiting for 20 years in order to have their son or daughter as a US citizen in the United States. That wouldn't be the problem. So again, Denise, thank you for raising this. And once again, I'm going to say at the end of this video is, if you can, and everybody can, it's, as a US citizen, especially in the United States, as a naturalized US citizen, this is important to bring out the real problems in the immigration field, not the stuff that is showing on the news all the time, and that is being used for popularity and political advantage. But the real problems that real immigrants are dealing with literally on a daily basis. So thank you everyone for tuning in. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to ask them in the comments below. I will be happy to receive them. Thank you for your time. God bless, and I'll see you all in the next video.